Nipples.
What's up, my fellow gamers? Saltiest Gaming, and we're back with another podcast, TSP, episode 29. What's up, guys?
29.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on?
There he is.
That sounded lackluster. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Nipples.
Hey, Nipples.
Nipples in the room. It's hot.
So, anyway, guys, how's your day going? Chat, how's it going? Noof. Who else do we got in here? Skull Stomper. Shout out to Stinking Corpse, Noof, Brujo, Barstool Gaming. What's up, guys?
We got to talk this shit out, man. We got to get this popping.
Oh, man. See, yes. Fonz, we had done that like an hour ago. Everybody tweeted out, except for you, Fonz.
Oh,
except for you.
I'm sorry. I have a life, okay?
Hey, just to let you guys know, I broke my phone 2 times in a week. I just broke it again today.
What?
So, yeah.
That takes talent.
Wow.
I told you that Galaxy phone spelt with a C instead of an X was not real, bro.
So you're saying I shouldn't have bought it at the swap mart, right?
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
Look, the Galaxy is not real.
God damn.
God damn it.
What's up, Nukem?
Oh, you know, just slipping in always at the last minute. It's my thing.
Is your name Nuke Nukem? I was just
He's alien.
Wow. Damn it.
Hey, make sure you guys share the link out, not to the chat. I accidentally put the Google Hangouts chat link in the chat. That was surprising. I deleted that faster than I don't know what. But anyway, make sure you share it out and hit that like button, and we're going to get into this real quick. What have you guys been up to? I know Far Cry 5 came out, and that's been taking a majority of my time because I'm trying to get through the game for my review. So it's about a 25-hour campaign, so I've been playing that every day. What about you guys?
Same thing, man. Far Cry 5 has been eating my time up. I mean, I jump on, and that's it. That's all I want to play. And I've been playing it solo just because I want to get that full experience.
Mm-hmm.
But god damn, it's so good. It's a slow build, but once you actually get into the thick of it and you're starting to do your own thing, you're moving around, something pops up in those random events. We'll probably get into it later, but the game's just good. I've been playing that a lot. I haven't even touched PUBG, dude. Have not touched it.
Oh, so you finally got a life other than PUBG, huh?
Shut up, Nipples.
Yeah. You know what, guys? Some of you out there know I've been playing the hell out of that game, Kingdom Come Deliverance. I put in over 200 hours into that fucking game. It's an awesome game. I've got a love-hate relationship for it, though, because the game is broken. It breaks often, and I've lost about a good 15 hours probably in that game from crashes. So I'm taking a break on that game. I'm at the end, and I just got to stop and play something else, and I have been. I've been playing Far Cry 5, and you know what? At first, I was unsure about it, but so far, it's been amazing. I think that I'm going to hold my look. I was saying that Assassin's Creed Origins was amazing when I first started playing it, but the ending of that game is total ass. And I hope that this game does not do the same, considering it is a Ubisoft game. You know, so we'll see. But so far, great. The story is awesome. It's cool.
Awesome. Knuckles, what have you been playing, bro?
Unlike a lot of other people, I'm still stuck on that Monster Hunter. I've just hit 300 hours in that game. I can't stop. So fun.
Sweet.
But other than that, you know, I've been playing Sea of Thieves with my group. I've been playing, you know, with others in the community, Avers, and just a bunch of people. Because that game, despite what anyone says, for me personally, I have a lot of fun with it. I'm glad people are enjoying Far Cry 5. I'm glad it's really well for a lot of people that are playing it. Not my thing, but if people are enjoying it, that's all for them. I'm glad it's what they want.
Awesome. Hey, shout out to Lazy Black Gamer. I know you having some back issues. Hopefully those get fixed soon. I know how that is with the back issues, so it sucks. Who else? Punk, what have you been up to, man?
Unlike everyone else, I went to go buy MLB The Show. I went PlayStation this week. Everyone else went Far Cry. I went to my sports, man. Opening day was today. Big baseball fan, so that's where I've been playing. And then I did start some Tomb Raider up, Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I've been working on that. Phenomenal game. I can't believe I waited this long to play it, but it's a blast.
Awesome. All right, well, we don't really have any guests this week, so we're gonna get right into it. We have someone that needs to leave early, so let's get into a couple light topics, and then we'll get into the heavy stuff. Doom and Resident Evil 7 are receiving 4K updates for the Xbox One X. You guys excited? You gonna go through these again? I know myself, I haven't played Resident Evil 7. I think it's on sale for the spring sale, which we're going to talk about. Now that it gets this 4K update, I mean, I can't say no to it, but my backlog is pretty deep. So I don't know when I'm going to get to this game, but I think I'm just going to slide it into my backlog and get to it when I get to it. But as far as Doom goes, I've said my piece when it comes to this game. It's one of the best games FPS wise that I've played. It's super fun. What about you guys? You guys excited for any of these games? You guys beat them already? Are you gonna get back into it?
Well, for me, I'm not going to go back to Doom. Okay, Doom is a great game. Don't get me wrong, but I got very far into Doom, and I had a corrupt save file, and it ruined my.
That's the worst. Oh man!
And I had to start over, and I didn't feel like it, so I'm not playing it over again. But it's a good game. It's solid for what it is. Resident Evil 7 doesn't do it for me. It's not my type of game. But more power to anybody out there that wants to play this. And in 4K, that's awesome.
So, Fonz, real quick, Resident Evil 7 is not your type of game. Is it just because the horror genre or the first person?
It's
like, what is it?
You know what? I love the original Resident Evil games. I liked how it was before. I don't really like the first person aspect in this particular one. That's what it comes down to.
Okay. Native, what about? Are you gonna pick up these games again? Do you have them?
No, I don't own them right now. It is pretty neat to see all these games getting that X treatment, just because I've seen going from the OG Xbox One to the X and seeing those games that I used to play before and seeing them now. It's just outstanding. The visuals are great. The performances are usually better than what I was used to. So I'm very happy that more games are receiving the X treatment. As for Resident Evil 7, I played that on the PS4, and I actually completed it on the PS4. I would love to get back into it just because I want those achievements, and just to see if I can, you can't really change too much because it's a linear game, but I'm wondering if I can do it better than the first time that I did it. And I know that there's an alternate storyline or there's an alternate ending or something like that, and I'd like to see how that one plays out. So I might pick it up again, but I don't know. That was my own personal game of the year last year, I believe. Okay. So that one was a really good one. I haven't played Doom, so I might be picking that one up just to give it a go. I played a demo of it, and that demo was insane, man. It's so fast paced, and it's all over the damn place. You got enemies popping up everywhere. So I might be looking into Doom again.
Honestly, with the Doom situation, this is like from the bottom of my heart. If you like first person shooters and you like fast paced action, pick it up, man. It's very cheap on the game cell, and I don't know what it is now, but at some points it was like at $5, I think, or $10.
I got a question about Resident Evil. Does it feel more like Outlast now that it's in first person mode?
No, not at all.
It doesn't. Okay, that's good. That's a good thing for me. And how much is it now?
It's $22 on sale right now.
You know what? That is not a bad price. I may give it a go at some point.
Yeah. I highly recommend it, Fonz. I highly recommend it. If you're liking Far Cry 5 right now, definitely give it a go.
For real. It is really well done, and the DLCs that add the story content are really, really phenomenal. They give you little pieces, but the last one that they added, which was End of Zoe or anything like that, really, really phenomenal story pieces. Like, they really did knock it out of the park with this one. Very self-contained. I don't know how they're going to expand it if they do a trilogy out of it. But
all right, bro. We don't need an hour-long synopsis of the.
Oh God!
All right. No, it's just really good. That's all it is. It's phenomenal. If it's $22, especially if it's the gold version, get it. It's well worth the price.
Sweet. So you're gonna go back and play it, Knuckles, or?
Yeah, I actually finished the story, both endings. Loved it. I started my hardcore playthrough of it on the hardest difficulty, which switches up the enemy placements and a lot of things in the game. I never finished it, but with it coming out and getting a full 4K patch, I might actually go back and replay and redo the hard mode run through I started.
Awesome, awesome.
And
Hey,
just for
go ahead.
clarification, the Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition is $29.99, and the Resident Evil 7 Standard Edition is $22.49. So both at
Awesome.
really good prices.
Hey, I mean, honestly, with how many people that have told me about Resident Evil 7, I have to pick that game up, honestly. Shout out to Michael Chiricello. $10 super chat. He says, great crew. I appreciate that, bro. Let's get 20 likes right there. Let's share it out, peeps. Let's get it going. So next up, I want to talk about COD 4 Modern Warfare is coming backwards compat. Definitely want to see if you guys want a quick breeze through with chat and everybody else. You guys looking forward to pick this up? Delilah HD with the super chat, $12. We appreciate that. If you guys don't know who Delilah HD is, she's a friend of Fawn's. She was on with him and I think Knuckles, right? She's on with you guys right now at the GRG podcast. She has her own podcast. She's a great person in the community. You guys should go check her out for sure. But back to what I was saying, COD 4 Modern Warfare is coming backwards compatibility. Is it something you guys would play? I know a lot of people aren't into the backwards compatibility situation, but COD 4 is definitely something that I think I would play. Real quick, panel, what do you guys think?
Man, they already remastered it, so I mean, I feel like they could have left that behind and put out Modern Warfare 2 or even 3 or something. There's no reason. It's already been remastered. Why have that game of all?
It's curious that they waited, right? They got that remaster out, and then all of a sudden, boom, backwards compatibility. I knew that was actually going to happen because I was like, man, they got all these other COD games coming out, and then these specific ones that they're going to remaster, they hold those back at the cash grab for that, and then they send it out backwards compatibility wise. Anybody else interested in this game? Chat, are you guys interested in COD 4 Modern Warfare? Put a 1 for yes, 2 for no. Anybody else interested? Yay, nay, hey.
Yeah, actually, I'm not gonna pick it up because I picked up the remastered version, and I thought it was kind of a strange move that they would just go and toss it as backwards compat. Because I mean, if you didn't buy the remastered version, I don't know what you're doing. If you like that game,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, I don't understand it.
I understand. I definitely agree where native is coming, but at the same time, you got to think that that with Activision, at least they're more focused on getting as much as they can from it. So them not actually putting out the backwards compat before the remaster allows them to get the extra sales out of people who wanted to play the original campaign with the remasters, and now those who may have purchased it digital back in the day can play it through the back compat on Xbox at least. But the remaster was, what was it, all platforms? So it was them to double dip in it before they would do something like this.
Yep.
So it doesn't surprise me at all. You know, I loved Call of Duty 4 because that was actually the first game that I played online when I got my 360, right when I bought Gears way back in the day. That's what actually got me into online with meeting everyone that I know online now. So those were the two games, and I would love to replay that campaign, remastered, back compat, either way. But that's kind of why they're seeing the back compat now after the remaster's already been done.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Delilah about COD.
Yeah, we are. Delilah, apparently your message didn't go through. If you want to put that in chat, I'll read it out. Sorry about that. So anyway, we'll move on to the next topic. So did you guys hear that No Man's Sky is coming to Xbox? Apparently, it's the time exclusive situation was a time exclusive. If you go back in time about a year and a half, PlayStation was marketing this game as a true exclusive. No mention was made of a timed exclusive. So it's interesting. Now, last night, the game development people came out with a tweet and said, hey, we're coming out with an Xbox One version. It's going to be 4K. It's going to have HDR. It's going to have all the updates. They're coming out with another update when the game drops. I just want to get you guys' take. So first of all, I want to get your take on No Man's Sky coming to Xbox. And then after that, I want to talk about the fact these timed exclusives. Is it kind of shady for, these companies to not be clear when it comes to the timed exclusives? Because we're seeing this with Crash Bandicoot, we've seen it with Hellblade, we're seeing it with No Man's Sky. We're seeing all these so-called exclusives that were on a timed Gate, they weren't, that information wasn't shared. And then you have Rise of the Tomb Raider on the other hand. Microsoft came out of the gate and they said, hey, this is going to be a year exclusive time situation. So let's start off with Fonz. What do you think about No Man's Sky coming to Xbox One?
It's like asking me, what do I think about E.T. coming back, to life from the Atari 2600? I could give a shit. The game is bad. Like, come on. It's universally bad. Who cares? It seems like they're trying to get more out of this game. And, Hello Games, right? Those are the guys that made this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they royally screwed up when they lied to everybody from the beginning. And what are they going to do this time, Continue to lie to us, I don't know. Like, does it interest anybody? I mean, that's the big question, and I don't think it really does. I don't think it's going to sell well.
So the question that I asked to you is, so you don't think it's going to sell at all because of all the backlash that it had on PlayStation? I feel like
if it does, there's a lot of hypocrites out there in the Xbox community. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, further expound upon that.
Okay, well, if you got a bunch of Xbox dudes yelling that game is trash, and it comes over to the Xbox and it's bought up by these same folks, then there's a problem.
And it's going to happen.
I really don't think so. I really think that these people are right in their assessment. That game is trash.
But I don't think that's really fair to say, especially if they're pure Xbox gamers. And when by pure I mean they only play on Xbox. And if they just came out the gate saying the game is trash based off of secondhand opinions, based off of actually seeing all of the negativity that came out for it, but didn't get a chance to play it themselves, if they purchased it day one just to have that experience, just to kind of conclude, yes, this game is trash. I don't think that's fair to say. But
I've actually tried the game, and I can tell you right now, it is trash, dude. Like, people, when it comes to the Xbox, do not buy that game. It's terrible. It's boring. Sea of Thieves kicks its ass, and I'm being honest.
Oh man!
Hey, at least Sea of Thieves gets a W there.
I want to pose a question at you, Fawn, since you've played it. Did you play it only at launch, or did you play it recently after the updates they put out?
At launch.
Okay, so you haven't played any of the new
updates. I wouldn't dare go back to that game, dude. No.
All right. So this is one of the major questions that I have to you guys, because it's something that we'll talk about, like games as a service and updating games that come out, but we'll get into that. But what Lazy Black Gamer was saying is, stop focusing on the past. This game is updated. It's a totally different game. These developers screwed up in the way they messaged their game and all that stuff. The main guy went into hiding, like I said in my video. I was like, did he get teleported into the procedurally generated planets and disappear for a year? It's interesting because you have one side that say, forget the past, focus on the present. They apologize for what happened. They added content. They're continuing to update the game. It's not like they abandoned the players, because they easily could have been like, okay, we got this game out. It was, we got dumped on by the media and by the fans. They could have just said, hey, we get our money and we get out of Dodge, right?
I have to interject because I have to say something about this. First impressions mean a lot, especially when a new development company comes out with a game and they make all kinds of fucking promises that don't come true. That is very telling to me, and it tells me just how these developers are, and they were shady as hell back then. So here's the thing. Back in the day, we were used to games that would come out and they had one shot. I mean, they would come out on a cartridge or whatnot, and that was it. They were full games. They had to put everything into that game to sell it. Nowadays, it seems like a lot of developers are relying on that fact that, hey, we'll put it out there even if it's half-assed, and we'll finish it later. I don't like that kind of business model, and I'm not down for supporting developers that are like that have that mindset. To me, it's bullshit. Put out a game, put your best foot forward, put out a good product, make a great first impression, and you'll have my money. Since they did come out and lie to people, why should I respect them anymore? I don't care what the game is like now. It could be fantastic. Screw them. They screwed a lot of gamers over at the beginning. I'm not about that.
But Fonz, let me throw a point right back at you here, man. Did you play any of the Fable games?
Yes, I did.
Okay, then right now I'm gonna have to call you out as that being a hypocrite because that's the same thing that Peter Molyneux was known for doing.
But here's the thing: I had fun in Fable 1 and 2. Did you? Did you?
I did have fun, but
Okay.
I'm just
I
saying the
didn't
same
have
thing
fun.
that he
I didn't have fun with No Man's Sky.
and that's where it comes down to that you didn't have fun out of what you got, and that's completely understandable. If the game wasn't
Cannot-
enjoyable,
You know what?
hang on,
Stop.
no,
Hey,
hang
pause,
on, hang on,
pause.
no,
You
hang on,
cannot
hang on, hang
compare-
on.
You
No,
cannot compare Fable to No Man's
No,
Sky.
I'm
Get the
saying
fuck outta here with that
Fonz,
bullshit.
you're not listening to
the
my
fuck
point here. You're
All
not
right,
listening to my point here.
one at a time.
My point is that while we had fun with Fable, you didn't have fun with No Man's Sky. Understandable, but both the lead directors on both games came out and lied about stuff that they wanted to put in. And Peter Molyneux had a reputation for doing that. Sean Murray, I don't know much about him before this, but he did the same thing that Molyneux did, and yet we still enjoyed the hell out of Fable. People still say that Fable 2 was the best one. That was the biggest one he lied about. I'm just saying that we have to be like mindful of what happened on both sides of the community. If you didn't like it, I completely understand. Not everyone likes every game that comes out. And if you don't have any drive to go back, that's perfectly fine. But I'm saying we had our own situation like that on the Xbox side. That's where I'm
you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like there's a lot of people ready to be hypocrites. That's what
Hey, I got a super chat into one for you, Fonz. All right, I love the show, bro. It's from RTA King the Chosen, and Fonz is the Grinch of gaming today, bro.
That's bullshit. I just said how much I'm loving to play Far Cry 5 and how much I love playing Come Deliverance.
I don't think that's what he's talking about. He's saying gaming today. So the way that gaming today is,
Well, that's gaming today. Far
yeah,
Cry
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. That's what we need to focus on is gaming today because there is an evolution in process.
Yes,
where
but
games as a service is becoming more and more of a trend, and it's becoming the future of gaming.
Okay, but games as a service does not mean delivering half-assed games in hopes of it getting better later through updates. That is some cop-out shit right there, and I'm not about that. You know, I'm not going to sit there and say give a pass to a developer who has a games as a service game out there and it's half-assed. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, it's okay because they could fix it. You know,
Right.
But I mean, with when you look at games like Rainbow Six Siege, you look at games like The Division, where they gradually got better over time. It's still the same concept, where it's a games as a service. When they released it, it was bare bones. It was mind-numbingly painful to sit there and actually force yourself to play. At least The Division was like that for me, from the beginning, because there wasn't much there.
So.
And as it went on, it got better. So
I just want to touch on a question. It's basically a statement from Noof. Noof, shout out to you, buddy. Anyway, No Man's Sky was supposed to be an indie, but Sony changed the hype game, and that's really true. Okay, I mean, this game was okay. It came out during a time where PlayStation didn't have many games. Let's be honest, they were going through a drought just like Xbox did. And then they had No Man's Sky, and it just got hyped to levels I haven't seen with a lot of games. Honestly, they were hyping the shit out of this game. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing a No Man's Sky ad. E3, they were hyping it up. You know what I'm saying? And it was an indie game. And is that Sony's fault, or is it the developers' fault for falling to that trap?
Yeah, and that's something that I wanted to allude back to. Was your original point was, because of how they marketed it, Hello Games was I mean, they did a lot of marketing, but it was all shit because it all came out as this isn't what you guys were talking about. This isn't what you marketed. So after it comes out and everybody starts shitting all over it, he goes into hiding, and 2-3 years pass by, and here we are with No Man's Sky coming out on Xbox. They didn't have any marketing for that. So they just realized, we're bad at this shit, so let's just hot release it, soft release it, let's just throw it out there as fast as possible and let it, fall downhill. Let the pieces fall where they lie. Like that's
I'd like to, because I don't want to be, totally negative here, but are any of you guys here on the panel, are you guys okay with games coming out that are just half-assed with the promise of it getting better later through updates?
Not to tell me that up front.
Yes, agree with Punk. If it's upfront about it, if they do early access things like that.
God,
yes.
Hey, Fonz, we're gonna get
at all. I don't respect that at all. Sorry,
we're gonna get into it. Okay, this is a topic about No Man's Sky. Okay, it bled into games as a service, but that's a separate topic. So we're gonna get into that. It's juicy. It's all that. But what I asked you guys is about the messaging that PlayStation put out. for these timed exclusives that were exclusives. They were marketed as PlayStation exclusive. Nothing was told to gamers that it was on a time basis. Crash Bandicoot, you had Hellblade. We have now this huge game. This game couldn't have been marketed more as an exclusive. This indie game, No Man's Sky, and now it's coming out. That's coming to the Xbox. Is it shady or is it not?
No, it's absolutely, because it's using false wording on both sides. Because one, it's feeding into Sony numbers. Great, Sony gets to do it, but they're not being honest about if it's truly exclusive or not.
Okay.
That's absolutely false advertising. Microsoft kind of clarified it. There are some times where they definitely need to improve it because they do vague language on certain things, but for the most part they try to be open about it. Sony has not corrected any of those. There was a lot of rumors about them still coming to other platforms, and they get in the silence immediately. Look at the early reports of Crash Bandicoot coming out on Xbox right after it launched on PlayStation, but those got shut down real quick, and they removed the only on PlayStation advertisements for that. They were just saying, on PlayStation. They weren't saying only on anymore. Like they use vague language in everything they do.
Mm-hmm. And that's a question that rises up: is it Sony to look at and say, hey, you guys are shady, or is it the developers themselves or the publishers of these games where they're not using it? I mean, it does fall on both, but I think the blame should definitely be more on, or at least the shady look should be placed more on the developer, not so much as the platform. I mean, that's just my take on it. I don't think Sony should hold the responsibility for coming out and saying, oh, by the way, this is a timed exclusive. I think that should be the developers saying, we're putting this game out on PlayStation 4 right now, and it's going to be on there for a little while, and then it'll eventually make its way out to other platforms.
Because honestly, if I'm going to be real with you guys, companies get sued for lesser things for lying, okay? I'm not saying they should get sued with this messaging, but it seems shady to me, honestly. If you're going to come out, and this feeds into the console wars, right? Xbox has no games. Look at our games. We got Hellblade, we have Crash, we have No Man's Sky. You guys don't have shit. But then come to find out a year later or so, the game comes to Xbox and everybody forgets the terms of service, right? They get amnesia all of a sudden. So that's the thing, man. The thing is like, is year exclusive deal. When people saw that on Xbox for Rise of the Tomb Raider, they laughed at it, right? They said, okay, they're going to get this year exclusivity for Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's going to come out and then blah, 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 right? It just seems different on both sides of the coin to me, but that's just me, I guess. I don't know. You guys can look at it differently, but I think that these companies need to be forthright and open when it comes to their advertisement of these games as exclusive or not. And that's the same with Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony. As a gamer, I want to know, is this game going to be permanently exclusive on your console, or is it going to come out to another one? It's that simple to me. What do you guys think, real quick?
I don't know. For me, it's like, since like you're talking about exclusivity, and I feel like as a person who owns multiple systems, me personally, I honestly feel like I kind of forget about that exclusive shit because I don't think about it all the time. Okay. I have it, I can get it, and that's just the way I feel. I get where you guys are coming from, but when you own everything, I don't feel like I have to sit here and say who's got the bigger penis, sort of say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's because I am an Xbox. I mean, I only own the Xbox. I don't own any other platforms. I did have a PlayStation, but it really doesn't. It only matters if I'm looking at a game that I really want to play, like with Days Gone. That was when I first seen that trailer. I was like, I really want to play that, and I'd gotten the PlayStation 4 to play that and to play Horizon Zero Dawn. So I was waiting on it, but if they would have come out and just said exclusive or timed exclusive for Days Gone, that would have mattered. I wouldn't have picked up the PS4, most likely. I wouldn't have. But since it will cause you to go out and grab another console to spend more money if a company is failing to tell you this is also coming to your platform. So I guess it can be seen as a negative.
Yep.
But I'm only looking at it for the games. I only care about exclusivity if it's for the game that I'm interested in. So if I'm not interested in it, I don't care.
Fonz, I want you back in here, bro. What do you think about the messaging? Do you think there's an issue there, or are you cool with it?
No, I think you said it all, man. I agree with you on that point. I think the messaging's wrong. Okay. I do agree with what you said, man.
Okay. So It's interesting. You guys can decide whether or not you want to get No Man's Sky, but it's out there. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to pick it up unless it goes to Game Pass. I tweeted out myself this game would be perfect for Games Pass. You know, Xbox Game Pass. I think this would be
Yes.
Yeah.
perfect for that service
I would
because
agree.
you know.
It is a perfect game for Game Pass. It does fit that service model for Game Pass. I was interested in it before it launched on PlayStation. I played it on an old roommate's PS4 when he was living with us. I enjoyed it. It didn't keep my attention, but now that's coming over, great. If it's at a decent price point, not high dollar, maybe I'll pick it up. But Games Pass for sure, I would get it.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about something light when it comes to the topic. Games with Gold this month. I did a video about it. It's coming out with some good games, actually. I've talked about it with you guys. There's, thought process that once Game Pass came out, the quality of, Xbox games with Gold was just, complete garbage. But if you look at the games this month, we're getting the Witness, which is a very popular game. I think IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. It's coming out April 1st through the 30th. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the next Xbox game that takes place in England. That's be coming out for April 16th, and it's going to be available until May 15th. On the 360, we have Cars 2 and then Dead Space 2. What do you guys think of the offerings this month for Game Pass?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. The Witness, honestly, I've never heard of it, so that's something I'll definitely try out. I've never heard of it. You guys know I pretty much keep my head in like one or two games at a time. You guys are definitely a lot more well-rounded with the gaming knowledge when it comes to all these random games. But Cars, I think would be cool. I won't download that, but something like I said, you got a daughter that's getting into gaming, so like when I get to that point, my daughter becomes that age. These will definitely be games that'll just be great to have and to be on my Xbox. I mean, I'll probably already be on Xbox 2 or whatever by then, but I should still have it, So why not get it for free? And then, of course, Dead Space. Never played the series. I just downloaded all of them on EA Access, so I'm going to jump in those hopefully sometime next month. And then, Assassin's Creed. Skip that one because I was kind of little bored of those for the time. I love Assassin's Creed, but I took a year off of that one, so I'll jump back into that one for sure. But I think it's a great lineup, best they've had in a while.
True, man. I think that games with Gold gets a lot of shit, honestly. But in the end, it's subjective. I mean, I could think that all four of these games are shit, right? So, and I could explain to you why I think they're shit, and then you might think they're good. I think Syndicate is really good because it's one of the games I passed up. The Witness is a puzzle type game. I'm not really into puzzle games, so I'm going to be skipping that. I think Fawn's bounced out. Native, what do you think of the offerings this month?
I like them. I like The Witness as a Games with Gold because it is a puzzle game, because it's an indie title, and it had a lot of really good reviews. It had a lot of really good attention. So being able to try that out really satisfies my whole, okay, what are they coming out with? What are they coming out with? Because I'm always looking for free shit. So these ones coming out. I like The Witness. Assassin's Creed, I kind of don't want to play any Assassin's Creed unless it's Origins, just because I got burnt out with them and the settings and everything. And Origins seems like it takes you to a different place, and I'm just kind of tired of the medieval and the Britain and just all those eras. I'm kind of burnt out with them. The only one that I really want to play is The Witness. Cars I'll probably download for my daughter, just because it's another Pixar Disney gay movie, just like Brave, which she loved, by the way. And what was the other one? The other one is that last one for the Xbox 360. Which one is that?
Dead Space 2.
Dead Space 2. Yeah, I played the first one and I played a little bit of the second, so it's going to be nice to jump back in and actually finish that one. So I'm pretty excited. I'm happy with them.
Bloody, what do you think of the offering this month?
I'm actually really and glad for the offering this month, especially despite the Cars, which is great for my nephew when he's here. The stuff that's on offering for the Xbox One with The Witness, I know a lot of people really loved The Witness, especially with its puzzles, and I love puzzle games. What was that game that was a puzzle game that was gold a while back? I think it was Breath of Numia or whatever. Very interesting puzzle. Yeah, I believe it was called Breath of Numia. It was really interesting puzzle game, really interesting story, real quick. I enjoyed it. And I think The Witness is perfect for that. It has something that's very unique with its puzzle. You know, it's another indie game that really gets a spotlight and be able to be seen for everyone to really check it out. And I think that's really great about the games for gold. You know, Syndicate, I loved. I always have a special place in my heart for Assassin's Creed. I know a lot of people hated it after Unity. Unity was a broken mess. I know there was complaints about Syndicate. I
Oof.
thought Syndicate looked really, really good, but I never wanted to buy it at first just because I was starting to feel the slug from Assassin's Creed. And
Mm-hmm.
what they did with Origins has been phenomenal. I would love to go back and replay those games. Not necessarily do all the collectible that I would typically do, but at least definitely play the story and check them out. And you know that's really been great. And Dead Space 2, but for something that's in the back compat, Dead Space 2 was probably one of my favorite Dead Spaces. You know, I love the first one, really great, very atmospheric. I think 2 really amped it up, especially with the combat and some of the more unique weaponry in that one, but it was still very intense, had a lot of like very crazy mental aspects of things, especially in the story. And it like I'm absolutely hyped for it. I never finished my run through. Well, what was it on the hardcore mode where you only had 3 saves, which I need to finish that because that is stupid. Because I would always go like 4 chapters and make one mistake that set me back, and I got pissed off for a while. So maybe I can finally finish that run.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's a good offering. Fonz, do you have anything to say before we move on?
You know that old adage, if you can't say nothing good, don't say nothing at all?
Okay. Okay.
Oh God.
That applies here.
Okay.
Ooh.
Sea of Thieves hits 2 million players. It's the fastest selling IP. Was the message shady by Microsoft? I don't think so. I think that they historically have been kind of, I don't know, they don't know how to get their messages out. Like if you read into the way that this message was written, so they talk about the 2 million players, then they start talking about the fastest selling IP. So the way it's worded, it gets like blended in to get together, and people are like, oh, it sold 2 million. And that's not the case. And then there's also the confusing point of Game Pass. A lot of people are like, well, how much is Game Pass? How much is physical sales? Well, people don't know because Microsoft doesn't get that message out. They don't give sales numbers, you know. So I think the message was confusing, but it's simple to, you know, deduct. Sea of Thieves hits 2 million players, fastest selling IP. The previous record holder for fastest selling IP was Quantum Break. Again, we don't have specific numbers on that, so it's hard to tell. The offerings, in my opinion, for exclusives this generation have been ho-hum when it comes to Microsoft, and they haven't sold well. Let's be honest, you know.
Yep.
None of these games have been, you know, blockbusters that sell, you know, sell out and all this other good stuff. But when it comes to this game, it has the media coverage. It has everybody talking about it for the good and the bad. This game's been out for over a week, and people are still talking about it, still debating about it. So that's a good thing in itself. You can determine whether or not the game is crappy or it's good or it's unfinished or it's not, you know, but I think this is good for Microsoft to actually come out with a game that it is successful because it's good for gaming. So what do you guys think of this information that was given out when it comes to Sea of Thieves? Let's start off with Native.
Well, I think Greenberg has a talent for putting out vague and just kind of incoherent tweets at times where they're just easily misconstrued by a lot of people, especially people that are looking for something to bash. They can easily take that apart and do that. So he's got kind of a history with that, I've noticed. And I mean, it's great for what Sea of Thieves is doing to have 2 million players already in a week. That's pretty. It's pretty damn phenomenal. It's pretty fast. I mean, I don't know what PUBG's numbers were, but I think it's significantly faster at hitting 2 million than PUBG was. Because I think how long was it before they announced that PUBG had hit 5 million players on Xbox One?
It was a while, but it's tricky because those are actual sales because, you know, PUBG is $30. So
yeah. So I mean, it's sales of you have to buy the game in order to play it, and then you have Sea of Thieves, which is on Game Pass, which, you know, kind of muddies the numbers a little bit. But either way, it's still 2 million players. Even if someone did pick it up off of a 14-day trial, it still counts, I guess. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But either way, it's doing what it needs to do, and that's exposing and giving Game Pass more exposure. That's all I'm looking at. Is people are looking into Game Pass a lot more now than they would have if Sea of Thieves was just a hard release on its own, no Game Pass integration, no none of that. It was just by itself. I don't think we'd be seeing those numbers, to be completely honest. I don't think so.
Okay, okay. Fonz, what do you think of the way that they got this message out? Do you think it was a little bit unclear? And what do you think of the numbers when it comes to fastest selling IP?
You know that old adage? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think that the numbers are a bit muddy, but at the same time, I have to disagree with you, Native. I think this game probably would have sold just as well without Game Pass initially because of all the hype and because it was dry for so long. I think it would have sold well. I don't know. I think people are reading too much into this. Especially when it comes to the numbers being muddy or whatnot, like they're really spinning it and trying to make it a negative thing and trying to make Game Pass look like a negative thing. And I just think it's wrong. They're looking at it from a negative perspective, and it's gaming. I mean, come on, we're supposed to be having fun with this stuff. And I think people are just putting too much stock into this bullshit,
It's true. I just personally think that people should celebrate the fact that one of the major 3 companies put out a game and it's surpassed the other games that they put out to this point. So
facts. You know what? You hit it right on the head with that, dude. Perfectly said, man. Because it's like some of these people out there just want this game to fail, and it makes no sense. Like, I don't like the game personally, but I want it to succeed. I want it to get bigger. I want it to get better. People that want to see games fail are just ridiculous to me.
Yeah. And that's definitely something we're seeing in social media. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't like the game and they're actually promoting it failing on social media. That boggles my mind because I'm a gamer. I just want things to be good. I want the 3 companies to be good and succeed. I don't wish God of War to fail, even though I don't have a PlayStation. I actually want to pick that game up, by the way. But it's just like that. It'd be weird for me to say, hey, don't pick up God of War. The little kid's annoying. I hate this game. Don't buy it. It's just, I don't get it personally.
Yeah, it's incredibly stupid.
Bloody, what do you think about the numbers and the message, man?
See, my honest opinion is that people who are dogging the numbers, just want to stir up controversy for controversy's sake. They've come out and confirmed that all the sales numbers aren't including Game Pass. We don't know anything like that. We know for sales that it's up there, and we can look and guess based on sales numbers for like Quantum Break and some of the early stuff. But just be glad the game is selling. I mean, look at Horizon Zero Dawn. That game is what, 7.8 million copies at this point now. I'm glad for that. That's great news for the PlayStation community. It means that they're supporting the game. It deserves it. Look at what Hellblade did. It took them a couple months, but they did 500,000, then 1 million. That's when a game is selling those kind of numbers, even in the grand scheme of things, with the amount of gamers there are out there, it's not a lot. Just be glad that the developers created something that is selling out to that many people, and they're happy to play that game. That's what it should be about. Who cares about the console war BS? If a game is selling, be glad that it's selling, because it means that developer is able to keep doing what they want to do and doing more. That's where it comes down to.
Facts.
Right. And people have to remember, this is Rare we're talking about. This is a classic development company. They've put out so many great titles in the past. I mean, just calm down a bit,
It would be go ahead. It would be very disheartening as a gamer, honestly, if Rare just folded shop, because of all the good memories I have with the games they've made. That would be like a shot in my stomach, man, honestly. So,
I can't tell you how many freaking hours I put into GoldenEye when I was
GoldenEye's classic, especially for multiplayer, especially back in the day when it was all there in the same console.
People think Rare is all about cartoony and stuff, but they had great games like GoldenEye that were, not so cartoony and, warm and fuzzy.
You want to talk about mature? You look at Conker's Bad Fur Day on the Nintendo 64. I don't know how that one got approved, man.
Oh my god, dude!
But and that's a good point. But think about this, especially with Rare. That means that all of the IPs that they created and owned, that's all owned by Microsoft. That's not a bad thing. That means that at any time they can go back and bring back those classics in a way. We already saw it with the Rare replay. Hundreds of games that Rare has done all in one giant collection. That was awesome. Let them do something different. Let them still create games that have that Rare charm to it. Like, despite how people feel about Sea of Thieves, it's still very Rare, and the gameplay and some of the things that are in it, it's very what they would do. Yes, it may not be for some people, but it still has the charm. It still has the magic. Let people who are enjoying it enjoy it. That's where it comes down to.
Did you guys see Phil Spencer? He wants Banjo and Kazooie in the new Smash game.
Yes, that's awesome.
Let it happen.
Hey, man, Phil Spencer is putting this olive branch out to Nintendo, and I say props to him. I call him Big Deal Phil. I know there's a lot of people that like to shit on him and stuff, but I love the dude. I think he's talented in what he does, and like the fact that he's doing that, he's like, hey, I want to see Banjo and Kazooie in Smash. It's like, okay, Nintendo's like, hey, buddy, we might take you up on that offer. It's always good to extend olive branches than burning the fucking
and it brings Banjo back to where he started. You know, it's coming from Microsoft, but it goes right back to Nintendo where he all started, along with all those other characters. It's a great 2-in-1. Why would that be a bad thing?
Like, no, it feels good for gaming, man.
It really is. A lot of people hate on him and fail to realize that he was a developer. He was very bottom when he first started back with Xbox way back in the day, and now look at where he is.
Well, I think, getting back on topic here, I just think that people need to be careful what they wish for and hope that they don't, that somebody like Rare continues to go on, because we've got other development companies who've already closed up shop, and we've got BioWare on the brink of extinction. I think that, this next game they have is going to be, make or break for them, honestly. I think any time can just get rid of them.
To piggyback off of that, like, honestly, Mass Effect Andromeda, that game was just shit on. It wasn't a good game, but like, damn, that studio is just, it has history, and then that IP has history. And once this negativity gets rolling downhill in social media, it's hard to stop, honestly. And it's just like, these guys put so much work in time and sweat and blood and tears, whatever's coming out of their bodies, to make these games. But putting in devotion, and then everybody likes to shit on it. That's the popular thing.
Well, I think it's social media that's really ruining a lot of gamers out there. I think when because this toxicity breeds toxicity on social media, especially, and you get YouTubers that get together and they start just championing all this negativity, and they go with the flow. It's like they meet up with a crowd that is just like-minded negative people, and then they breed other people that are like that, and like their fans, so-called fans or listeners, believe it too, and they start getting negative, and they post the same shit on social media, and it's just a big circle jerk, and it sucks that
it's funny that you sorry, go ahead.
But here's the thing I believe, though, seriously, me and you have talked about this, Salty, in the past, but I believe in the law of attraction, guys. You get what you put out into this world. And if all you do is put out negativity, that is all you're going to get back in return. So, seriously.
That's really true. But no, I was going to say something in line with what you were saying. There's a community for anything and everything out in the internet. You have some dumbass who believes, that doorknobs are going to take over the world. Well, they'll go online, look up doorknobs taking over the world, and guess what? They're going to find a community that all believes the same stupid fucking thing that they believe, and guess what? You now have this engrossed feeling that what your dumbass idea is, it's widely accepted by a dumbass group. So it fuels your own sense of community. And so when you find a community online that feeds into negativity, that feeds off of it and just puts it out, it just grows and grows and grows. And especially if it's something like a video game, like Mass Effect, it like you said, it rolls downhill, and it's fucked up because a lot of people will miss out on a game that they could potentially love or build memories with, just like we did when we were younger.
You know what? Here's the kicker too, guys. What you don't understand is some of these people on YouTube are doing this for views. They're just messing with your mind. They don't even give a shit at the end of the day.
Nope.
Some of them aren't even real fucking gamers. They don't even play their games. So do not listen to everything they say. Like, some of these guys just get on there to be part of that echo chamber, and it's funny as hell.
Hey, honestly, this is a good time to give a shout out to everybody in chat that rock out with us. You guys make this community run. You guys are the most important thing. We appreciate all of you. If we haven't shouted your name out, I apologize. I think you guys, it's not the biggest podcast or community on YouTube, but I appreciate every one of you, honestly. So beers up, cheers up to everybody. Thanks for being here. We're going to go on to the next subject, and this is going to get a little testy probably. It's going to be a shorter podcast today, but it's okay. I want to talk about the topic of games as a service. This is a hot topic that was coming up earlier in the chat, and I kind of said, hey, we're going to talk about that later because it's the meat and the potatoes of the podcast tonight. So games as a service. So is this the beginning of the end of gaming? I know that sounds bleak, but it is a topic. Sea of Thieves is at the forefront of people's minds when it comes to games as a service. It's a $60 game that came out. It was gutted and unfinished to some people, not to me, and it drops at a $60 price point, and it sells like hotcakes. The fastest selling IP for Microsoft this generation. Is this the trend? Is this the way it's going to go with games as a service? I want to put my input first, and then we'll get everybody's input from chat. If you guys want to ask some questions, feel free. So anyway, games as a service. We had this topic come up, and all right, here's my point of view. Do I like games to come out unfinished? No, I don't. But there's many examples of games that come out unfinished, and they're not games as a service. They come out at a $60 price point. They're unfinished, they're crap, they're garbage, and the development teams and the publishers abandon the game, and they say, oh, well, you guys paid $60, we're not supporting it anymore. You have other games, you have other games that come out, they're not the best, they're not finished, they're not polished, but through free updates, and I want to put the exclamation point on free, they get the games running and pumping and jumping, and they're really good over times. The main game that I want to focus on is Rainbow Six Siege. When it came out, it was bare bones. It got really bad reviews. Not a lot of people were playing it, but they've updated the game through free content and through seasons that you don't have to pay money for. And look at the game now. It is exploding in popularity, and they said that the game could be supported for up to 10 years. Okay, so what I want to say is if they're giving you free updates and supporting the game for years, that $60 stretches a lot further than a game you pay $60 and it's just a one-off game. That's my opinion. It might not be the most popular opinion, but you guys talk about it. Let's talk about it, Fonz. Let's get your counter argument.
I don't necessarily have a counter argument to what you said. You're definitely right. We have a lot of games that aren't service based that are out, and they come out and they're janky. They've got problems, and I take issue with them. I just don't think that we should hold them to different standards. I think games as a service games need to come out and be good. I don't think they should be half-assed. And I'm not pointing fingers at Sea of Thieves here. I'm just saying in general, I think that we just need games that are good coming out, period, regardless where they're at. Now, if you have a game that has some issues or, it's just not quite done, put it in preview program. That's what it's there for. And I have no issue with that. Preview program is fantastic. But this whole thing where, games as a service is going to kill gaming, you know what? The jury is still out on that, because right now people are basing all that like doom and gloom based off one game. They're basing it off Sea of Thieves, which is ridiculous, because at the end of the day, Sea of Thieves doesn't define the Xbox brand. It's one game, and people are just saying like it's the be all end all, and it's not. People need to calm down and realize that, look, games as a service is the future, because that's what we've got. And this goes back, this is nothing new. Destiny was a games as a service game. There's so many games out there. But you know what? It's a going trend. I just hope it's not one of these trends that continue with games that come out and they're just not done or they've got problems. That just delegate that to preview program games, please.
Okay.
Now, I have a question. I have a question for you, Fonz, and this isn't to take away from the main topic, but do you think that because game preview and things of that nature on Xbox and on Steam or Windows or wherever else might have it, do you think those have lent itself to this whole issue with games as a service being the future? Do you think that that is something that has kind of propelled
Uh,
this trend?
I think what propelled it is the monetary value of microtransactions. I think that is really what
Gotcha.
propelled this games as a service thing. I think that is at the end of the day what is causing all of this. It's the billion-dollar industry that is microtransactions, hands down. That's all it is.
Gotcha.
It isn't about being nice and trying to put out free updates for everybody. No, that is just a side benefit, but they're really trying to go off that continuous revenue stream, and that of course comes in microtransactions, DLC, loot boxes, all that stuff, and that is going to continue on because, like I said, it's $1 billion industry.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to gauge where you were coming from, and I felt like that was the question to do so.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
but yeah, thanks for that.
it's interesting because games as a service and game preview and Game Pass, those are all on Microsoft. You know, like we don't see this with PlayStation. There's not a game preview program at PlayStation, so
As salty as I've said, that is what makes Xbox unique. The fact that they do have all these services, and a lot of the other side likes to shit on that. Okay, but that is nothing to shit on. It's a great thing that to have these services. I think having a preview program is awesome because it does make it to where you can have some of these games, try them early, and also talk to the developer and give them your input. Hey, I think it would be better if you did this or that. And you know what? They'll listen. Sometimes they'll listen. So and that's awesome. But I love all the services, man. I subscribe to most of the services on the Xbox because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, just point out something just to piggyback off of Fawn's really quick. You know, when I was younger, I would hear about people actually having a job as a video game tester, as a video game, analyst, and people that would play it before. I mean, as they're building the game, that was something I used to hear when I was younger, and that excited the hell out of me. Where it's like I can actually have a job where I'm just testing video games. That's amazing. Well, I was never able to pursue that because I had other things come up, but with game preview and things of that nature, I feel like I'm in that position. You know what I mean? I'm not getting paid for it, but it puts you in that same category. So whenever a game comes out with on game preview, I'm usually gonna pick it up just because I like that feeling of hey, I'm contributing. So it's pretty awesome, man.
So, Punk, what do you think about the games as a service situation? Like I was talking about.
Yeah, well, we all know everything's subjective. You know, I could go out and spend $60 and think it's the greatest game in the world. You could spend the $10 and think it's the biggest piece of shit in the world. I mean, people's mindsets are so all over the place. You know, I mean, where do you even begin? I think games as a service, I think it's a great thing. It's definitely the future. I mean, everything's a service. I mean, not just video games. I mean, obviously Netflix, and you got Spotify, and like even YouTube Red, you can pay $15, get all this stuff. I mean, everything is subscription based. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, God only knows what's coming out next. Shit, we don't even know about. I think it's great though. I think the game preview, that's great. I mean, PUBG is the only one that I've personally bought because it's like the hottest fire, so everybody was buying it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it kind of makes me think if that game was even going to sell just as well if it didn't come out as a preview game. Like, what if we were still waiting for that? Wouldn't it be talking about PUBG right now?
It's true.
Yeah. No, I think it's great, man. I think it's definitely that's the way the gaming world is going to go. I hope it stays because these companies, I think they'll make a lot more revenue doing it also.
So, Knuckles, what's your take on games as a service as a whole, man? Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of points that everyone brought up that were really, really good points. You know, Fawn's brought up the fact that games that come out in the preview program or very upfront that, it's, pre-alpha, early testing, lower price point, not $60, stuff like that. That's a very open thing. But I mean, there's been a lot of big games that have come out that are still technically games as a service. Most PC games back in the early days, especially big MMOs, all games as a service under the full extent, and those were subscription based and had their big expansions. Look at World of Warcraft, one of the biggest ones. That started out with vanilla, and they got some in-game events over time that was being funded by the subscription. Then they had their big expansions. Burning Crusade, Cataclysm, all those kinds of things. We saw that within Destiny. Yeah, it was funded by microtransactions after a while, but that was something to help build up the revenue because of the fact that they're not getting, subscription or anything. Games as a service, when done right, is very useful. Look at Rocket League. Rocket League was what, $15-$20 when it came out, and it
Mm-hmm.
still actively gets big updates. The only thing that they make money off of to really support is the microtransactions for car skins. That's about it. And they have done so many big events and different ways to play that game. They have a basketball mode, a hockey mode, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. That's cool. Gears of War, Halo 5, very big games as service. Their multiplayer is still very active. They have active updates. When games as a service done right, it can support the game for long extensive periods of time. But the thing is, there has to be a certain amount of transparency about it. That's why you have issues with like Destiny, especially because there was so much hidden stuff going on. They weren't open with their community. They weren't saying things. And then with a lot of the stuff that came out, it hit the fan and it hurt them. Now most of the community has walked away from the game, even some of the hardcore. When you're not open about what you're doing, then that's where the issue is. Yes, I do agree that Sea of Thieves in its current state was not worth $60. I still enjoy the game. I love the hell out of it. They were very open with a lot of what was going to be in it. They made it seem that there was going to be a little bit more at full launch. That was the big thing. Other than that, if they've been very open. The thing is, the price doesn't feel like it matches the content for a lot of people. With games as a service, there has to be a certain level of transparency on what you're doing when you're one, either first launching or what you have for post launch in a very stable window, especially if you're going to put something in that's $60 right out the gate. One of the big issues that people had with Ark is that there was a lot of times early on when that game launched that it wasn't meeting any of its deadlines for any of its dinosaurs or any of its
Mm-hmm.
updates. That's what really hurt that. Did they get it all out eventually and hit full release? Yes, they did. However, as soon as they were getting ready for full release, they turned around the price, and that's what a lot of people got turned off on because they still didn't feel like it properly made up for what was in it. Now, there's a lot in it now, years down the road, but there wasn't always that consistency. That's where it comes down to. Games as a service, Microsoft has really nailed down games as a service. They've been doing it right. But with, Sea of Thieves, one small misstep, but now it's up to Rare to be open with what we're doing. Games as a service has been around. It's just not the way that we know it now. People fail to understand that.
Yep.
Now it is very much the future. It really is. Now it comes down to a certain level of honesty, you know, transparency and communication. When you're doing and working with the community in a certain light and doing things, they'll support it.
Yeah.
When you try to go too far without telling them why you're doing things, they'll turn against it. That's what it's coming down to. Look at what's it, Warframe? Warframe is heavily praised. Same with Path of Exile, and they're
Yeah.
free to play games that work as a service.
I have to say something here though, because it hit my mind right now. And I mentioned this, I think, in DMs with you guys, but games as a service, like you said, it's not a new thing. And it seems like people are treating it as if it is, just because Microsoft is talking about it more than the other companies. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's almost like the thing to do, like to talk shit on, because Microsoft is the one promoting games as a service more than any other company right now. And that's just false. I mean, come on, this has been around for years, and just because Phil Spencer decides to, push this narrative doesn't mean that it's the end of gaming, or doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad for gaming. Regular updates to games are always good. Just put out a good product initially. That's it.
Yeah,
I think one
and
of our best examples is Grand Theft Auto 5. Sorry, Salt, but
Go
I
ahead.
just want to throw this out. I think one of the best examples we have as a games as a service done right is Grand Theft Auto 5. I think that's, I mean, if you want to tout that as a games as a service, I personally see that as a games as a service because of the amount of updates, the amount of content they've released after, post launch and everything. I think that's probably hands down, besides World of Warcraft, the best examples of games as a services we've got.
yeah, and Timothy Dixon, if you said if Sea of Thieves launched at $20 to $30 and then charged for expansions, it might have been better. I don't know about that, man. I don't.
Ooh.
I think that they're going about it the right way, because the DLC is going to be for free. I think they're going to be charging for cosmetics only. So I don't think that approach would have been the right way. Honestly, it just comes down to some people think that the game was unfinished and doesn't have content, and some people do. So we'll just leave it at that. Fonz, I know you need to get out of here. You got to go see a movie. I'll let people know where they can find you, because we have one more topic that we're going to get into.
I got a few more minutes, Ben. I'll
okay. Okay, so this is going to be the last topic of the night. It's about the hacking that's going on in Sea of Thieves. This isn't just so. It's an interesting topic, because Xbox and Microsoft are making this Play Anywhere push. They're making their games available on Xbox and available on PC. They're just talking about it in gaming. Gaming is gaming, it doesn't matter if you're on mobile or this or that. Phil Spencer is the head of gaming, Satya Nadella, he's talking about gaming. So PC is part of that ecosystem. So when that is involved, you see crossplay, between PC and console. Up to this point, until I've been on board with the crossplay situation with PC, but since I've heard this news that hacking's going on in Sea of Thieves, I've jumped off the bandwagon. Okay, I'm off. I don't want crossplay anymore. I don't want it between consoles and PC. I'm a console person. I'm not a PC person. It sucks to hear that on the best network on Xbox, that they can't hammer down and get this under control. This means that it's not going to be controllable. The fact that I'm seeing hackers hack into Sea of Thieves so easily and break the game, essentially, where you can't shoot people, you can't seek their ships, they're in God mode, they're destroying people's fun, and they're destroying it on a level in the game where the fun is built by the players themselves, getting treasure. If you stack treasure for 2 hours, 3 hours, and you get sniped, auto sniped by some hacker that can't be killed, and you lose all your gold, how much do you think you're going to come back to that game? I definitely wouldn't be coming back to the game.
May I start off here?
Go ahead.
Let me just say, I've never understood this whole push for crossplay. Okay, I've never understood it. I could give two shits about crossplay, especially between PC and console. I've been saying forever that PC will kill you, will crush you in just about any game.
Yep.
And hacking aside, the mouse and keyboard, once you get used to that, is just far, far better than any controller in your hand. I'm telling you. And I had one guy tell me that I was wrong, that he would kill anybody with mouse and keyboard in a first-person shooter, and I was like, no, dude, just stop. They just point and click, and you're dead. Look, this whole hacking thing that's going on now with Sea of Thieves, I mean, we knew shit like this was going to happen. I mean, if you know anything about computers and computer gaming, this is what happens all the time over there. So that's why I just never understood why people were so high on crossplay with PC. I never understood it, man. And people are still saying, oh, it should still be a thing, but there should be an option. Why would you want that option to be hacked? Like, really? Like, I want to have the option to get butt raped. No, I don't. Bad is bad. Like, there should be no option for crossplay with PC. If there is hacking going on, what is the point?
So I want to piggyback off of this, Fonz. Honestly, it's just so the idea of crossplay. The only reason it would be a good idea is if your game is dying, right? The numbers are at a point where it's taking so long to get into a game that you have to open up crossplay. I know people are saying, "Oh, you could put options in there and stuff." It's just like, why though? It just doesn't make sense to me. And here's another example of PC, the PC master race. Ruining another game. We got PUBG Mobile. Guess who's hacking into PUBG Mobile and doing their PC shit? PC guys, dude. PC guys are hooking up mouse and keyboard, and they're dominating people on mobile. Why do they choose to do that? I don't know. They get satisfaction out of ruining people's experiences. But we've seen examples of this over and over. I don't know what the reasoning is, why PC people want to hack into games and want to ruin people's experience. Maybe it's the PC master race thing. They want to show console plebs that they suck and, you know, all this other stuff. But it's just like, I'm done. I'm off that crossplay bandwagon. I want them to just shut that down. I'm good with that. You can have play anywhere, and you can have the titles still on PC. But I'm over the crossplay stuff. Nate, what do you think, man?
That person in chat just now said it's not good to assume that every PC person will cheat. That is true, but at the same time, there are an extraordinary amount of cheaters on PC. That is a fact. And you're going to get some of those guys in your games, and we are getting that in Sea of Thieves. So
the negative outweighs the positive in this case.
Christina, like I wasn't trying to say that every person on PC hacks or every person on PC cheats, but if just a couple of them do it and they ruin people's experience on console that's traditionally user friendly and it's hard to hack that environment. I know a lot of people go into the console ecosystem to avoid the hacking. Because hacking is prevalent on PC. You talk to anybody there, it's just hackers are everywhere. I'm not saying console games don't get hacked, because they do. Like, look at the old COD game, the World War II game. You go into those lobbies, people are floating around saying racist stuff in the chat. They have God mode on. They're shooting unlimited rockets. It happens in console, but it's after the game dies and the developers don't care about the game, you know?
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Go.
Yeah. All right, go. I was just gonna say the only crossplay that I would actually advocate for, that I would push for, is between consoles. So you got PS4 and Nintendo. That's the only crossplay that I would be looking forward to. As far as PC, I play Gears 4 competitively on my own and with the team. Not competitively in a sense where I'm going to tournaments and stuff like that, but I get really into the PvP aspect of Gears 4. And since that went crossplay, that has an option. I have that damn thing off. Because if you try to play against somebody with a mouse and keyboard, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. Destroyed. So it's not something that I've ever really been crazy for. I like the fact that Microsoft is open to it. I like not that they're open to PC crossplay, but the fact that they're open-minded about everything and they're willing to take a shot with it. In this case, it bit them in the ass, and I hope that they reverse it. I hope they see that the negative is far outweighing the positive here, and and reverse it. I would be happy with that, but no, if there's an option, it's off.
So we have some comments in chat, and I want to, I appreciate these comments. Free Jack, you're talking about Steam. The game files are in the open on the PC for anyone with admin access to fuck with. I got also a comment from Chris. He talked about console cheating is bad. He got screwed over in Destiny. Yeah, I mean, both sides. If you're going to take a poll from people, where would they say that hacking is prevalent and it's a problem? Like the most, it's PC. The PC environment is filled with that shit, man. So, and then we get down to consoles, and I know for a fact that I've been playing against people that have had mouse and keyboards hooked up third party wise. It's not something that was been supported by consoles. When you're doing competitive FPS, you can see replays of gameplay, and you're like, oh god, this person's using a mouse and keyboard, snipe my fucking head off. Oh well, there's not that many, right? But then we're going with these supported keyboards and crossplay, and then we're getting hacking. And it's just like, at a certain extent, where do we draw the line, right? As console players, like, where do we say enough is enough, right? I got a console to be a console player. I didn't get a PC. If I wanted a PC experience, I'd go there. Like, we're getting the graphics and all this other stuff, but it's just like, I mean, I was always on that other side of the fence. Don't get me wrong. I was the person that said, hey, give it some time. I'm okay. The mouse and keyboard, I'm okay. The crossplay, give it some time. I've given it time. I don't like it. I don't like the results. I'm seeing the results. They're bad. Okay. So, Knuckles, what do you think, man?
I'm still perfectly on board with it. Yeah, the hacking on it sucks. It's something that's happened. Like, we've seen it on consoles, we've seen it on PC, we see it everywhere. It's something that's going to happen. There's people who absolutely want to do that because they have not much more with their time. However, crossplay is still a good thing. Like, I've had my experiences, especially with the push for the play anywhere. I went back home to go visit my family. And when, I wasn't doing anything after everything was all said and done, I pulled out my laptop, a very shitty laptop that could run a few things, and I plugged in my controller and my headset and was able to play, a couple games. I played during the beta and Sea of Thieves with some of the people that I know. I've played Astro Near, which is another crossplay play anywhere title. It does have its aspects. It does have its good things, and I understand with the hacking being a major deterrence, especially when you're up against people who are really good with mouse and keyboard. It sucks, and we've seen it already on consoles with people who are using hardware to trick the system into thinking they have a controller but are using mouse and keyboard. It's one of those things that there's always going to be a workaround one way or another, whether it's consoles only or PC and console. We can't hold it all back. I do agree. It fucking sucks when there's going to be people who are going to be dicks and just troll you the whole time, especially when there's no way to do anything about it, because then that kills your mood for the thing. But there needs to be tighter restrictions on certain things. There needs to be an improvement to the anti-cheat. That's where it comes down to, is they really have to push, if they're going to do this, how they're going to protect the players from both sides, because we've seen console hacking and we've seen PC hacking. It goes all the way around. There just has to be better ways to deter hackers like that. I don't think the whole thing needs to be thrown out. Yes, if there's people who want that option, like they do in Gears 4, that's great. Not everyone wants to play with PC players, and especially in competitive, that can get you all over the place, but no, that still does come down to a skill thing. But yes, keyboard and mouse significantly more responsive than console.
Bloody Victor said in chat, PUBG had over 1 million cheaters banned. That's a huge number if you look at it, right?
Yeah, and that a lot of that was I know that was a large amount of Chinese players, but yes, they did crack down on the hacking and they shut it down. There needs to be a certain push for cracking down on cheaters, especially when you have such a large number like that. You got to think that the big thing about this that's making it hard for Sea of Thieves is the fact that, one, it's UWP, which is supposed to be like their own plug and play, where it's supposed to work across all things, and it's supposed to be harder to crack into. That's where it comes down to, is they need.
I got a good question though. I got a good question for the panel though. For those that do want crossplay with PC, I want to ask why.
Okay, yeah,
I don't.
Who's for it? I jumped off the bandwagon.
No, I'm just saying why, but why? Why?
So crossplay, what would be the advantage if you have a friend that is PC elite dude? He doesn't have a console. Maybe you can play a couple games with him, right? What else? Crossplay, up the numbers of lobbies so you can get into matches faster. Those are the two things that I would think that would be good, right?
You can even do it in your own home. Like I said, like I game share with one of my roommates, and when I was away from home, I was able to log into my account, my Xbox account on my PC, and play games with him even when I wasn't around, and still be able to go through and do stuff with him. It still gives you a way to play. I'm not good with mouse and keyboard, but I still had fun with it and can help with my controller.
I think for me, the only reason why I would want crossplay on a PC with the PC is to play League of Legends, but we all know that League of Legends is not going to consoles, so scrap PC crossplay. That's it.
Okay.
So scrap it. Bye. I'm out.
Scrap it. Peace. Get abducted by aliens. So anyway, I think my bad. Punk, do you have anything to say before we close out the topic?
I mean, the thing about PC gaming, they take care of hackers, right? But with PC hackers or just hackers in general, there's always another door or window that they get through. Like there's always like that little crack that they find, and you have all these people on the other side trying to, stop all that. But I just feel like the hackers, or whatever you want to call them, I feel like they're so enthused with being able to break through these walls, and the people trying to stop it just can't keep up. That's just how it seems.
Yeah, man.
I'm not for the crossplay. I mean, I've always been a console person. I prefer Xbox, but if I had to fanboy on something, I'm a console fanboy. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go to that PC side. And it's not. I can't want to say I hate them, but I also grew up on consoles. I never had. My parents didn't have money for PCs and stuff, so I never got into that genre of playing video games. So I could care less for it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, J Nimbus, I only want PS4 and Xbox crossplay. Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I like crossplay between all three consoles. I don't have a problem with that. PC, man, I don't know. The benefits don't outweigh the negatives, in my opinion. I don't know why Xbox is consistently pushing this. I don't know what advantage they get. It just seems more of a hassle to them because if Universal Windows platforms getting hacked through and having its issues, they're gonna have to go up and take those hackers out, and then they have bad PR. It just seems like a headache to me. So I don't know, man. We don't need to beat this topic into the ground. I think that we've gone over it a lot. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you guys think crossplay is a good thing between PC and consoles. So anyway, that's going to do it for the topics tonight. Let's get our outros together. I appreciate everybody, like I said, in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. We're at 41. Let's get 50 before you guys go out, or maybe 45. That's more of a achievable. So anyway, let's give it the first outro of the night. Captain Neutral himself, Fonzarelli, thanks for coming back, man. We missed you on TSP. I enjoyed your takes. Where can people find you?
Captain Neutral is back.
Oh,
That was money.
Yeah, so you can find me at J Fonzarelli on both Twitter and here on YouTube. Check out, my channel and stuff, guys. I do gaming videos as well. And I'm going to start doing streams every now and then too, because that seems to be the thing people like, live streams.
Okay, dude.
But you know what? I made it to the end of the show. I'm right after this. I'm going to see Ready Player One once again for the second time. Gamers, if you haven't seen it yet, go out and watch this movie, support it. It's got a lot of gaming nostalgia. You've got to see it. There's so much to see in this movie. Go watch it, have fun with it. Sure, there's some cheesy moments, but man, what a ride. Fun stuff. Steven Spielberg is back, and he put his mark on this movie, and it's excellent. It's fun.
Thanks, man. I will be seeing that movie this weekend, and we'll definitely have to talk about that. Maybe we'll have like a non-spoiler review, maybe a little bit for one of our topics next week.
First impressions.
Yeah, first impressions. There you go. Thanks again for being here. Enjoy that with your son. Have a good night. Next up, we have Punkitish Gaming. Where can people find you?
On Twitter at Punkitish Gaming and on Xbox, man. Not doing too much. I'm with you guys. Going to try to watch Ready Player One sometime this weekend. Hopefully the wife's parents can watch the kid or something. I'm definitely trying to watch that.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Knuckles, Bloody Knuckles. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Bloody Knuckles. O's are zeros, E's are threes. Of course, they could find me on GRG every Friday. And on Saturdays on my show, the Smash Podcast, your little corner for geeky goodness.
Awesome. Thank you. Last up, Native, where can people find you?
All right, people. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us. Thank you for all the conversation and all the great points that we've seen out there. And thank you to the panel, man. It was awesome. It was good. It was good. It's good to have just a panel-only podcast every once in a while just to get that gauge going. But you guys can find me at Irrelevant Native N8IVE on Twitter. You can also find me on Xbox. My gamer tag is in my bio. And yeah, dude, it's been a great freaking night. So thank you again to Salty for hosting this, man.
Awesome,
stuff, dude.
Hey, I know the topics weren't the best this week, but we made it happen, chat. We made it happen. I appreciate everybody. There's some slow weeks and there's some good weeks, but we're going to bring it every week with the Saltiest podcast. As far as I go, I almost said as far as me go. As far as I go, you guys are on the channel Saltiest Gaming. I've put out some videos this week. One was the Games with Gold video. For some reason, that seemed to take off. I've talked about what else? What did I talk about today? I can't even remember. No Man's Sky. So check out that video. I'm playing through Far Cry 5 like a madman. Okay. To get you guys out a game review. So stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to be dropping that Monday in the morning. to give you guys my thoughts. I'm really digging the game, and I want to bring that review out to you guys. I've been talking to some people behind the scenes and Twitter DMs trying to get early access codes, because typically you get the game code and then you do the review and you're not rushed. But anyway, so that's going to be on the docket. I'll be getting some videos out as well. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate everybody. And as always, stay salty, my friends.
Last Jedi was good.